The Auditor-General provides assurance to Parliament on the accountability and performance of the Victorian public sector. The Auditor-General conducts financial audits and performance audits, and reports on the results of these audits to Parliament. On the 19th of February 2014, the Auditor-General tabled his performance audit report, Asset Management and Maintenance by Councils. Victorian councils manage physical infrastructure assets valued at over $73 billion. These include buildings, parks and gardens, roads, bridges, land and drains. The mix of assets varies with different types of councils. For example, for inner metropolitan councils, land makes up the largest proportion of assets in terms of their value, while roads and bridges make up the greatest proportion for outer metropolitan and regional councils. Overall, land makes up around 40% of asset value, roads 30%, and buildings 10%. Assets support the delivery of council services, such as home and community care, maternal and child health care, recreation and leisure activities, and waste and environmental management. Assets should also be managed in accordance with the Local Government Act, which requires financial risks, including the management and maintenance of assets, to be managed prudently and to also ensure decisions have regard to their financial effects on future generations. A number of bodies provide asset management support and guidance to councils. Local Government Victoria provides guidance material relating to asset planning and management. The Municipal Association of Victoria's STEP Asset Management Capacity Building program began in 2002 and has assisted councils to improve their asset management capability. The National Asset Management and Assessment Framework, or NAMAF, is a methodology used by councils to assess their asset management activities against best practice benchmarks and to develop improvement plans. It was developed in 2006 by the Australian Centre for Excellence for Local Government and the Institute of Public Works Engineering Australia. Since 2010, MAV's STEP program has also incorporated NAMAF. The audit objective was to assess how effectively councils manage their physical infrastructure assets by examining asset management frameworks and practices and assessing whether councils have been provided with appropriate guidance and support. The audit included Local Government Victoria, or LGV, within the Department of Transport, Planning and Local Infrastructure, and the 5 councils shown on the slide. The asset renewal gap is the difference between the funding needed to renew assets and the money councils allocate to this purpose. This primarily relates to assets such as buildings, roads and bridges, and other physical infrastructure such as swimming pools. The renewal gap is a significant risk for the local government sector, and it is important to understand the existing and predicted renewal gap for local governments in the context of this audit. This graph shows the predicted cumulative growth in the renewal gap across all Victorian councils in today's dollars. In 2012, this was estimated to be around $225 million, and this is predicted to grow to almost $2.3 billion by 2026. As well as these forward projections, a 1998 report to government predicted a doubling of the renewal gap by 2012 without action to address this problem, and this scenario has materialised. The consequences of not effectively managing the renewal gap are far-reaching. It will have adverse implications for service delivery, impact on community life, and could have potential safety risks to the public if assets deteriorate to the point of failure. There will also be the increased costs associated with dealing with assets that have not been maintained appropriately or have deteriorated beyond their critical intervention levels. Councils need to more urgently address this worsening problem. In recent years, councils have improved their asset management practices by applying available guidance, undertaking NAMAF assessments, and developing asset management information systems, strategies and plans. While improvements provide a solid foundation, councils' progress has been relatively slow, and significant deficiencies remain. Key areas for improvement include improving asset renewal planning and strategies to address the renewal gap, improving asset management plans, further developing asset management information systems, recruiting and developing skilled and competent staff to manage assets, and improving monitoring, evaluation and reporting on asset management. Councils have underdeveloped and partially applied asset management frameworks. Asset management plans and strategies need improvement, particularly to better link asset management planning and council service needs. There are weaknesses in governance arrangements for asset management, especially in terms of integrating asset management activities with other council functions, such as finance and service planning. Some issues relating to the application of NAMAF have been identified during the audit, including in relation to a slight bias in councils towards overestimating maturity levels and how conclusions about assessment competency is determined. Given these issues, it is timely to review the framework. There is significant underexpenditure of capital works budgets for several councils. Although there may be legitimate reasons for this in some instances, it does indicate there is scope to better integrate capital works programs with asset management and long-term financial planning. Asset renewal and replacement expenditure is not keeping pace with the rate of asset deterioration, as highlighted by the growing renewal gap. Most councils have underdeveloped asset management information systems and are investing in this area, although smaller councils find this challenging. Councils need to identify the skills and knowledge required to effectively manage their assets and address any gaps, which again is an issue for smaller councils. Councils' systems and processes for monitoring, evaluation and reporting are generally poor, and there is significant scope to improve reporting to the community on asset management. LGV provides guidance and support to councils, but this is relatively limited, and its existing guidance material relating to asset management policies, strategies and plans is in need of review. LGV advises this is to occur in 2014. There is scope for LGV to provide more targeted support to councils, particularly to deal with common issues they are facing, such as improving asset management planning, dealing with the renewal gap, and developing information management systems. There are currently no mandatory requirements for asset management in Victoria, and LGV should review the merits for strengthening legislation to help councils achieve best practice asset management. We have made 7 recommendations directed to councils, as shown on the slide. These are applicable to all councils and relate to updating asset management frameworks, policies and strategies, improving asset management plans, developing strategies for more effectively reducing their asset renewal gaps, improving information management systems, identifying and reviewing skill requirements, engagement with and provision of information to the community, and improving asset management monitoring, reporting and evaluation. Councils have generally accepted these recommendations. We have made 6 recommendations directed at LGV, as shown on the slides, relating to reviewing and updating its guidance material, reviewing the support it provides to councils and making sure it is targeted to address common issues, to consider, in conjunction with councils, developing specific asset management performance indicators, review the application of NAMAF in conjunction with the Municipal Association of Victoria, consider making aspects of asset management mandatory, and investigating options for supporting councils to develop and upgrade their information management systems. LGV has accepted these recommendations. A number of previous reports have identified persistent issues with council asset management practices and recommended that councils improve their asset management frameworks and their related policies, strategies and plans. They include local government, results of the 2011-12 audits, tabled in November 2012, management of road bridges, tabled in December 2011, business planning for major capital works and recurrent services in local government, tabled in September 2011, and the Auditor-General's report, results of special reviews and other investigations, tabled in May 2005. Although some improvements have been made, many of the previously identified deficiencies still exist. All our reports are available on our website. If you have any questions about this or other reports, or if you have anything else you would like to discuss with us, including ideas for future audit topics, please call us on 03 8601 7000 or contact us via our website.